You open this door with the key of reason. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of truth. A dimension of freedom. A dimension of joy. You're moving into the land of both the ideal and the real, of the possible and the actual. You've just crossed over into the Capitalist Corner.
Where reason meets reality, welcome to the Capitalist Corner.
Welcome, everybody, to the Capitalist Corner. I'm your host, Mark Pellegrino, and also the chairman of the American Capitalist Party, along with my co-host and vice chair of the American Capitalist Party, Michael Leibowitz, who's also the host of a multiplicity of shows, The Rational Egoist, Everyday Ethics. He's doing so much stuff. Plus, we have Self-Made Soul on Saturdays if you want to join us at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. That's a fun show as well. Nice discussions ensue from that. Michael, what's going on with your other shows?
Great episode out right now with James Stevens Valiant, using reason for self-improvement. We're continuing our series with Opar. Everybody should be checking that out. And of course, Persephone with the braided hair now. That looks nice. Persephone, show the long braid, please.
There you go.
Persephone and the long braid will both be available with me on Everyday Ethics today at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Oh, look at this. Super, what are these things? Super stickers from my buddy, Danny.
Thank you, Danny, for the super sticker of 99 cents.
He hates you, Mark. Danny hates you.
Why does Danny hate me?
Because evidently you did such a good job at playing Paul Bennett.
Yeah.
He can't see you as anybody but Paul Bennett.
Not even with this hair?
Maybe that if he sees this now, it might change. But he said you did such a good job. He really hated that guy.
Well, Danny, you're not the only one. Often people come up to me in the street and say, "Hey, you were Rita's husband from Dexter, right?" I say, "Yeah." They say, "You were such an asshole," and that's I guess their compliment to me. I also just want to reiterate, now that we got this nice super sticker, Michael, that we are looking for 10 super chats today. And remember, tomorrow, the person who gave the people who gave the most super chats are going to be able to join us here on the chat. We can talk. You can ask questions, yada yada yada. But please remember those super chats.
No,
10
Persephone, can you please explain what's actually happening?
No,
you got it wrong.
Right?
I'll be right back. Persephone, please.
10 super chats for 10. Okay, and then the 5 top get to come on the show and be part of our panel here for the show.
I really enjoy that Michael put me on the screen while I was eating a plum. 10 out of 10. So if we meet the super chat goal, which we still haven't.
Oh, so this is a contingent upon meeting the super chat goal. Okay, so we still haven't met the super chat goal, guys. I'm waiting for you to finish the plum, so I'll just keep talking until you finish the plum. Yeah, we still haven't met the super chat goal, guys. We're about halfway there every time we have a show. So please help us meet the super chat goal so that Fridays we can fill it out with folks from the audience and have a good old time together. I don't know. Anything to say about that, Persephone? Did I cover it this time?
Also, the people who have donated don't want to be on the show, so there's also that.
Ian Gilmore wants to be on.
Ian Gilmore wants to be on, so maybe Ian can send 10 super chats by himself just to be on the show with us. We'd love to have you on, Ian. You contribute lots to the chat, so it would be great to have you on here in person. Mike, we have a lot to talk about today.
Yes, so we're going to kick off Persephone. Bye.
She's never kicked off. She's always behind the scenes helping us out. Look, the first thing that you put in the headline today is no warrant needed. So apparently there was a memo that went out to federal immigration officers. Thank you very much, Jenna. Always great for the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Has anyone heard from Diego? Where is Deeper with Diego? I haven't seen him in a while. No,
I have not either, and I don't know, but I haven't really been looking.
I haven't either. So his commentary has been missed by me, but I just I assumed he was busy. Anyway, so a memo went out, I guess, in May that these federal immigration officers no longer need a warrant signed by a judge in order to invade someone's home. They can do what's called an administrative warrant. which has a far narrower scope and, of course, much less proof needed in order to get it signed off by an administrator. Michael, this is causing some waves, as it should, for anybody who respects the Fourth Amendment. One wonders how this has any legitimacy at all. How it's taken so long to come out into the public, I think, is explained in the article. But Michael, what are we going to do? Immigration. Thank you very much.
I don't know. Go
ahead.
I just clicked on Deeper with Diego on X.
Mm-hmm.
Up, something went wrong. Try again.
Maybe the powers that be have considered Deeper with Diego too much of a threat to national security, and he is now resting uncomfortably in a prison housing 40,000 other folks in El Salvador. But talk to me about this warrantless, this ability to now go in with an administrative warrant into people's houses. This is scary. This is a very scary development.
Well, let me just see what I can see here. I wish I had Jim Valiant here. Jim Valiant did tell me yesterday he thinks the courts will overrule this. But according here to, let me see if I can find it. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. And this has been, it has to come from a judge. And evidently they're circumventing this. Just one more shot at the civil liberties of the people here. And, Mark, to be honest, this morning I'm sitting around and I'm thinking about this. I woke up at 2:00 this morning, by the way, and could not get back to sleep.
That's terrible.
My mind is very, very, very active about a lot of this stuff that's going on. But then later on in the morning, I saw a post on Facebook, and it said, it said, the some bitch went and got us Greenland, about Trump. Said we've got Greenland. And all the comments were all about, yeah, he's did it. And they're all like, I mean, there's a lot of comments there. And then I asked in the comment section, the real question is why any of you believe this? And someone said, the news yesterday. And I'm like, what in God's name are you people talking about? Now, I don't know if they're just misunderstanding what's been said. I don't know if they've got some whacked out news source that tells them this stuff. I don't know if it's from Trump himself, but it seems to me, Mark, a very big problem. And by the way, I have no idea how to get around this, is the gullibility of the people that support this guy. I mean, they believe when he comes out, and like every day I'll see stuff, proof that the election in 2020 was stolen. And it will be like cropped video, AI, like stuff that's old, and they recycle it. And it's just like, why do you believe this? I don't know the guy, but Joe Sanders.
Yeah.
Yes. He's very, defending ICE out there. Defending ICE. And he says, like, I forgot what, bro, they're like a very sarcastic thing. So I just told him politely, would you be interested in debating me on this issue? Where I get that from, by the way, first of all, I've always been the type that, okay, it's time to put up or shut up, right? I have no interest in tit for tat on Facebook. But the great Julian Simon used to just say, when people would come out and tell him he was dumb or he was naive or he didn't understand, he would say, okay, let's make a bet on it. I have no interest in doing anything else. Let's just bet, because it's put up or shut up time. So when these people want to come out and defend shit like these warrants, for instance, or the behavior of ICE agents, it's very easy to just go on these rants on Facebook. It's much more difficult to actually be challenged one-on-one and have to defend those positions. I've yet to met any of them that can, by the way.
Yeah, they normally can. Otherwise, they wouldn't resort to ad hominem. They'd have a rational.
Right. But, and it may seem, I guess maybe I've strayed from the original thing about the warrants. But my point here is that we are in the business of trying to bring people over to the rational side, the reason side, the truth side, the freedom side, the capitalist side. But there's such a large block of people that just seem impervious to facts. And I don't know what the solution to that is.
I keep saying the same thing. Well, yeah, I don't know what the solution to that is either, but I keep saying the same thing. Michael, their emotions are overriding their reason. I think they feel like for the first time in a long time, they have somebody who's fighting their fight against the real enemy, who they perceive to be the left, who's had cultural dominance for decades upon decades. They feel the rush of being on top at the moment in the power, in the power world. And they don't want to lose it. And so far as they are concerned, principles don't matter. It's just that they have a guy who's fighting for them. And they like.
So it's funny because I just opened Facebook and the guy who posted the some bitch went and got Greenland, evidently two hours ago, he came on and said, yes, I know he really didn't get Greenland, but he got something. And despite the caterwauling from the usual suspects, no one who matters seems to upset. First of all, there's no formal agreement yet. Secondly, we already have military bases there. So I don't know what they think he got, but even if he does end up with something, what did we lose? In terms of,
that's something to be considered. And usually when Trump makes deals, we've lost more than we've gained. It's just that the people on that side don't want to see it. Michael, the other day I was listening to talk radio, and they had a guy from immigration actually talking about why all this crap is going on in some of these sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, why ICE enforcement is going out there and playing the tough guy, hurting people, why demonstrators are countering them. The story that's coming out from these folks is this, Michael. These states are failing to incarcerate aliens that are already in the court system who have a detainer on them. So what is supposed to happen, according to these guys, is these illegal immigrants who have committed some form of crime have a detainer on them, and what the states are in fact doing. Thank you very much, Catherine Casco, for that 1999. Thank you.
That's going toward Ian. Okay, Jenna doesn't want to come on. I think
Jenna doesn't want to come on, Kathy, so we have to give it to Ian, if you don't mind. And all of this stuff, I think, is going to be a donation towards Ian's visit on the show, it seems. Anyway, Michael, so apparently they're not honoring these detainers, and so they're releasing these people out into the street, and that's the claim. This is the claim, the justification for ICE going out in force. Now, ICE is not only going out in force, but they have agents protecting ICE who are going because of the fact that the population is rebelling against this show of force on the part of the federal government. So they need extra agents out there to guard ICE to do what they're to clean up the mess that they say the state governments are not doing. Normally it would be a peaceable transition within the prison system. They're claiming the states are making that impossible, and that's why they're out in the streets. It seems like a great deal more to me than that. Do you have any thoughts about that?
So Jim says immigration holds for those in custody were the norm when I was a DA. They are the norm. Last time I was in prison, since I don't know what's changed since I've gotten out. I have seen that they've denied ICE access to prisons. The problem I'm having is where do we, I don't know because first of all, I think that federal immigration law is unconstitutional.
Agreed.
Okay. But it's settled law.
Right.
It's a part of the fabric. So they people that are carrying out deportations, it's been ruled constitutional. I mean, and that's what we have. I don't get to say what's constitutional. The Supreme Court does. And they've said it's constitutional, though I think it's wrong. All right. So I don't like that. I don't like the idea that they are also going after people who are not criminal threats in the country. I don't know. And then, I don't know how much of this pushback from these states like Minnesota is just because it's Trump and they don't like Trump. So they fight him. Or is it a matter that they disagree wholeheartedly with the policy of him going after people who aren't just criminals? So they fight back against that. And this is one of the ways. There's so much going on. What I do know is this. I think that it's reasonably foreseeable, right? That when you decide that you're going to ramp up deportations, which Trump has said he was going to do, he's going to increase deportations. No official quotas, but they've certainly hinted at quotas.
Oh, I thought there was more or less an official quota of like 5,000 a week.
Not the last time I saw, there was not. It may have changed, but there have been comments about it. So certainly they may have expectations. So once you do this and you make announcements about implementing the what the hell act was it? The Insurrection Act, the Alien and Sedition Acts, that sort of thing. And you start doing that, and your plan is to send ICE agents into cities, and they're not just going after criminals. It's foreseeable that you're going to have this occur, right? It's much like when we talk, and I don't want to open a wound, so we have to start arguing, Mark, but I just want to make a point that it's like when you go to war. You may not know all the consequences, but there's going to be unforeseen consequences.
Correct.
So if you're going to implement this policy of just getting everybody who's here illegally out of the country, you have to be aware that there's going to be pushback. There's going to be protests, that this stuff is going to happen. And you then must judge that it's worth it. And I got to tell you, by the amount of people I see when they're dragging people through the streets that say, I voted for this. They're so happy. I voted for this. Dave Smith and Dickhead Dave and Dickhead Andrew Wilson talking about how they love seeing it on the nightly news. ICE agents snatching people up.
These are guys who claim to be humanitarians and pacifists, by the way, at least on the part of Dave Smith.
Yeah, Andrew Wilson's, whatever. He's the most contradictory, one of the most contradictory human beings you could ever meet.
But
back to what you're saying. So let's get back to the is the fact that is the sole reason we're seeing this the result of the states not helping ICE. I don't believe that. I think it's a factor, and I certainly think it makes things worse. But what would be the flip side of that? Suppose that Minnesota law enforcement was with ICE cracking down on people that have no criminal records. Do we think that the people of Minnesota would then suddenly be okay with it because it was Minnesota police doing it? Would those Minnesota police then perhaps lose their own people, lose the support of their own citizens? I don't know the answer to that, but I don't think Trump does either. And I don't think anybody does. And I think that to just ascribe what we're seeing to that is a very big mistake.
I agree. It's very complicated. Ian Gilmore has a number of questions that I actually want to address, but after a second, I want to ask James Valiant something here. Now, the excuse on the part of the Immigration Office and the Department of Homeland Security is basically this. The reason they can issue these administrative warrants is because, of course, the state is not honoring the legal holds on immigrants. So they cannot go through the clean process of taking these people within the prison system itself. They have to actually go out in the streets to do it. Their excuse for the administrative warrant, as opposed to a warrant signed by a judge, is that these people have already gone through some form of due process. So that could be that more or less that step has already been taken. And so all they need is this administrative warrant, which still comes with conditions, Michael. They have to announce themselves. They have to give the person reasonable amount of time to address what's going on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. None of that which necessarily makes sense to me. But I want to see if in James Valiant's perspective, this is a legitimate legal justification for what they're doing. As far as I'm concerned, any person who comes into the United States of America, legally or illegally, and I think you don't need permission to travel. Okay, if you are a peaceful person who creates value, you do not need the permission of a government to travel. That should be an individual right. But let's say you're in this country one way or the other. You fall under the protections of the Bill of Rights. That means the Fourth Amendment protects you as well. So the government, irrespective of its justifications, needs to make a case to a judge for a warrant before they can go to your house and attempt to take custody of you. Can you tell us, James, whether or not what the immigration department is saying has any legal justification at all? I certainly don't think it has moral justification. Because, Michael, I don't think non-citizens should have a different set of rules that they go by than the citizen. I don't think the citizen has extra protections. I think everybody, the beauty of the American system and of Americanism is that it's universal. It's applied to everybody. It's with respect to individual rights, which everyone possesses. That's what the government is supposed to protect. I'd like to see James's perspective on that. I know I missed a super sticker. Thank you, Daniel, and another
from Daniel and from Jeanette.
Thank you.
I don't know. It seems Jim may have. I'm getting a message from Jim right now on my phone.
Yeah, if he wants to come on, if he has the time even to discuss this, that would be great. He's always so amazing in this field. He adds such clarity to it. As it is, Michael, the precedent that this kind of thing sets frightens me, because it seems to me that once the federal government takes the precedent of force in one particular area, it extends to other areas. And so if they could start, if they can start violating the Fourth Amendment with quote unquote illegals who are peaceful, they can start violating the Fourth Amendment with us. It's only a matter of time. The power never, ever goes back. Unless, of course, you start electing capitalist-oriented officials, people from American Capitalist Party. They would be the principled folks standing for individual rights who would roll back government.
I will say this.
Yeah.
The fact that this came out by a leaked memo.
A whistleblower.
Yeah. Tells me that something is amiss. Brother Gary Menard has given $1.99 super sticker. Thank you, Gary. So, that to me, I don't think Jim heard your question, because he's getting back to me very slowly on text, and he normally gets back right away. So I think he's preoccupied with something else.
Wait, before you say that, do you mind if I address Ian Gilmore's stuff, or did you need to get this?
No. By all means, address Ian Gilmore.
So Ian Gilmore says most people don't understand sanctuary policies. The rational basis for sanctuary is that we want people to cooperate with the legal system, even illegal aliens, when it comes to other crimes. For example, you want illegal aliens to report murders or to come forward with testimony against criminals. That makes a great deal of sense to me, Michael. But illegal aliens won't do that if they think they are going to get deported. So you use sanctuary policies to assure them that they won't get deported by non-immigration cops. That makes a great deal of sense to me, and it seems quite.
I'm not an expert, on sanctuary cities by any stretch of the imagination, but I have talked to Jim Valiant about that very thing, and how there's times when people that are illegal don't want to come forward because they're afraid they're going to be deported, and so you need witnesses, and so it does make sense, and that's the other thing, is that for the tough on crime people, you're deterring people from coming forward to report crimes.
Indeed. And Race agrees with me. Rights indeed are not bound up with citizenship. The citizens have the privilege of affecting the machinery of government. Exactly. That is their privilege. But for the rest of us, for the rest of those folks who have come here and live here peaceably and work and create value, they are protected by a rights respecting government.
So
all the way down the line.
Christopher Smith says the fact that the American system recognizes universal rights doesn't mean they have a moral obligation to defend the rights of those who aren't citizens. They do have a moral right, however, to not violate the rights of people who aren't citizens. I don't know that that's accurate anyways. I've never really thought about it too much, so I don't know. But I do know that the morality of it is you don't have the right to violate the rights of other people, citizens or not.
Yes, I think they do have a moral obligation to defend the rights, of course, but that because rights are a moral concept, they extend to everyone. They're universal, and so long as you're in this geographic vicinity, that means you fall under the rubric of our rules and regulations, and that means that you possess individual rights which the government is obligated to protect and defend.
So I may be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat for us. I sent a friend request. I'm going to tell you. I sent a friend request to a very prominent attorney that I've interviewed in the past, a legal expert, and I just saw on Facebook that he's accepted my Facebook request. And given we're having these talks, I'm going to send him a message and see if I can get him on the show to discuss the legality of the entire ICE enterprise, the warrants, and everything else.
Great. Yes. And yes, Persephone, I am.
I'll tell you who it is. You want me to tell you who it is?
Go ahead. Tell me.
Have you ever read the book, The Rule of Lawyers?
No.
Okay. Well, he wrote the book, The Rule of Lawyers, Walter Olson. And I don't know if he's going to say yes. I can't promise, but I'm going to reach out and see if I can get him on.
Well, hopefully he'll come on. He can come on at any point during the show, but we'll continue with the news updates.
No, not today. I'm not going to do it right now.
Oh, I thought you were doing it now.
No, what am I going to do? It's 12:30. The guy just accepted a friend request. I'm going to say, hey, come on and give us all your legal thoughts. Come on, man.
Do it.
Well, I don't have Razi's money.
I'm encouraging you to behave in a more Razi-like manner. So the next.
By the way, let me just put this out there too, quickly. Andy Bernstein, who hates to debate. For anybody that wants to see the debate, we can try to raise a fund. Andy said he would do it for $1,000. So if we can raise $1,000 for Andy, I can get him to debate about Trump. But I do not want it taking away from my super chats. So unless you independently want to see it, please don't. Please don't agree to such a thing.
I do want to see this.
What? Ray Jacobson doesn't want Seinfeld humor? Why?
For the love of all that's real.
I went last night and threw the football around by. Harriman flat out refused to debate me, Gary. So,
Okay, so also we have some breaking news. This from the Daily Digest, and it's all over the place. If you've been watching the news,
I was just telling you a story.
You were?
Yeah, I went out last night. I went out for pizza. My buddy and I then took a walk to the old neighborhood, which we like to do. But this time we bought a football. So we went to the old neighborhood and we threw the football around in the old neighborhood. I got a nice video of it. I posted it. There was a kid sledding down the hill like we used to do. And so I told Danny, hey, why don't you give the kid the phone and let him record us throwing it? But Danny refused because he said, if that kid takes off with the phone, we won't be able to catch him.
I thought you were going to say something like, as he's going down the hill, you toss the football at him.
No, that's what they would have done to me when I was a kid, because the kids in my neighborhood were mean.
Yeah. Well, back then,
What do you mean? Yeah.
Back then, in like the boomeresque times that we sort of lived in, yeah, people were mean.
Megan Ribbons wants to know what we do with the super chat money. I'm putting it toward my tax bill because I just found out I'm going to owe much more in taxes than what I thought. So I'm in kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? Bind. I have to save enough money to pay for the taxes, and I've just started. But I think I'll be able to cover it.
Welcome to the real world in the IRS, Michael. Christopher, not whiskey. I don't drink. Michael, you don't drink either, as far as I know.
No, Danny says we were trespassing. We grew up in the projects, okay? And that's where we were. I don't think you can trespass on someone's yard. It's a shared yard.
Oh, so you were in the projects. Yeah, it's public property. You know, it's technically not trespassing.
That's what I think. Ian says he thought people who don't make a lot of money don't pay taxes. I thought so too. I don't have any real write-offs, so I got to pay 10% of my taxable income. And that's federal, but then in the state, in Connecticut, we have an income tax. I'm not happy about these people screwing me. I could never stack old bricks next to Razi's, Megan. So no way.
Nobody is. Listen, I want to talk about this Clinton contempt vote. The House Oversight Committee voted to advance resolutions holding former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in contempt of Congress yesterday. The move pushes the measure to the full House for vote as soon as Monday, February 2nd. The Clintons have for months rebuffed subpoenas to answer questions related to their interactions with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Their lawyer argues the subpoena is illegal and does not serve a legislative purpose. The Clintons have instead offered to submit written statements, and this week proposed the committee's chair, Representative James Comer, interview Bill Clinton and his staff in New York. If the House votes to hold the Clintons in contempt, it could pave the way for a Justice Department indictment. Bill Clinton has been documented taking 4 international trips on Epstein's Boeing 727 in 2002 and 2003. Stops on those trips included Bangkok, Brunei, Rwanda, Russia, and China. What do you think about this?
I don't know why you yelled 4, like you shouted it like you were a golfer.
No, it was just
they took 4. Like,
well, it seems like a lot.
I don't know what's a lot. I mean, I've never been on your jet, but either way. So I'm this type of thing is like, this is a very strange story because Congress clearly has no real interest in uncovering anything in relation to the Epstein stuff, right? Like they've shown no interest. They had, it was dragged out of them. This is clearly for show. I mean, that seems
so. It's just
obvious.
An attempt to embarrass the.
I think so. At the same time, I mean, if you're given a congressional warrant, I think you have to attend. But then again, I mean, there might be legal stuff that I don't know about, where you don't have to if it's illegitimate. I don't know all that. I do know the Clintons are despicable liars. So, who knows if what they're saying is true, but when it comes right down to it, Mark, this is all political BS on the part of the Clintons, on the part of everybody involved. You can't trust any of them. And it just really makes me sick.
Yeah, the political theater out there, tribe against tribe, is really despicable. But
yeah, see, Ian's right. Look at Ian. Ian's right quite a bit. That's because he plays the guitar.
They should show some interest in making Donald J. Trump's Justice Department actually release the files. Agreed. Not redacted either. Non-redacted files. There was a deadline that they've missed. That's nothing new, and nothing new for weeks. Of course, the DOJ is Trump's. They're Trump's guardians now, pretty much.
Did Epstein ever have? You never went with Epstein anywhere, right? Have you ever met him?
What?
Well, that's not an answer.
No.
Oh my God. Do we have breaking news?
No, it's just hilarious that you would ask me that question.
Well, you're rich. I thought that he knew I thought you rich people all know each other.
I do. First of all, no. Second of all, I don't run in those circles, Michael. I don't run in those circles.
I cannot imagine you fitting in with those folks.
I not only don't fit in with those folks, I would never fit in with an Epstein. But you have to ask yourself.
Epstein.
I keep saying it because it took me forever to get
Alex Epstein.
Alex Epstein's name right, because
he does a lot of good work, right? Alex Epstein.
I think he's changed the whole conversation on energy. But you have to wonder if any of these trips had anything to do with the Clinton Foundation, right? I mean, this is a foundation worth hundreds of millions of dollars. These are two people who have never really been in the private sector their entire lives, and yet they're worth $250 million. You have to wonder where that comes from. Here they are with a guy who's sort of a mover and shaker in the financial world, in addition to being a pervert. And they're taking the places like Brunei, Rwanda, Russia, and China. What are the things going on there besides the illicit, sex trade and
I have no idea.
Children? There's probably some shady financial shenanigans going on, because that's what the Clintons are all about. That's what most everybody in Washington is all about, Michael. They get in there, they come in middle class, they leave worth millions and millions of dollars. On a what, $183,000 a year salary? It's impossible.
Well, I don't know. They're just shenanigans. You can just call shenanigans on this one. The whole thing to me is just political theater, and whatever. It really doesn't interest me. To be honest, the whole Epstein thing is not like something that occupies my mind at all. People say, "Oh, it's a cover up for all these pedophiles and stuff." I don't know. Let me just say, I don't know, but I do think there's more important things to discuss. I think that a lot of that shit was hyperbole. I ultimately don't know because we don't know much, but I know that whenever conspiracy theories start to surround things, I tend to just start doubting.
Race, yeah, I agree with you. Race asks, did I ever meet Dave Cole or Dave Stein, the former Hollywood producer and Holocaust revisionist? He used to hang in Hollywood conservative circles. I don't think so. There was a conservative organization in Hollywood that was at first flying under the radar. It was founded by John Voight and Gary Sinise. It was called Friends of Abe. And people usually what they call below the line, meaning in production, joined up there. But there were a few actors as well, Adam Baldwin and various other folks. But it was a place where you could go in secret. It was not open to everybody. You had to be introduced by somebody who was already in the inner circle, highly secretive.
Like the mafia?
Like that. It was sort of like that, except it was conservatives in Hollywood trying to stay closeted while they were still conservative. And they started having events where they'd have guys like Krauthammer come and speak, and Larry Elder, and all these guys would come and speak at these events. It became bigger and bigger and bigger. And as it got bigger, of course, it got infiltrated by somebody on the left who started secretly recording, the Barney's Beanery get-togethers. Barney's Beanery is a famous bar in Hollywood where these guys...
own it? Do you own it?
I don't own it, but these guys would get together on like Tuesday nights, and they'd talk politics, and so this guy basically outed people, and these people had real repercussions at work. Some of them got fired for their political leanings, or they got some of them just or never got hired, but no reason given. And so the FOA, Friends of Abe, has been disbanded. It doesn't exist anymore. And if Dave Stein would have been anywhere, it would have been at FOA. And I went to a couple of those things, and I don't recall meeting him there. Thank you, €2. Thank you, No Name. Sorry for this. Have you ever met Liam Neeson? I have not, but I've dated women who have.
Women?
Yes.
You said it was one, and now there's more? What do? You follow this guy around and find out who he used to date and ask them out?
I don't take sloppy seconds from Liam Neeson.
It seems so. You said women. How many?
Well, look, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to give away my love life to the world, Michael. Let's just say I've dated a couple of.
You're women. Not. You've already done it.
I have not.
Mark, are you crazy?
I suggested.
You previously said on the air that you dated Liam Neeson's ex, and she told you about Liam Neeson's
yes, Jenna,
stature.
Thank you for the $2. He is picking on me. He's trying to get more information out of me than I am willing to give.
I don't want the information that badly. I just think that your excuse is a little silly.
Why are you going crazy over the fact that I don't want to reveal anymore?
I'm not going crazy. I'm going crazy about the reason you gave.
Suffice it to say women. It's not my fault. He's prolific. He's a prolific guy. What can I say?
But okay. Persephone says she doesn't want to have any dick talk, or she's leaving. That's like TikTok. You ever hear, TikTok? What if there was a dick talk?
First of all, it wasn't me. It was somebody in the chat. Who was it? Who was it that started this nonsense?
It was No Name asked about Liam Neeson, but then you said this silly thing about you're not going to make your love life public.
No, I said I have not met Liam Neeson personally, but I've dated women who have. That's all I said.
What have you said previously?
Before I talked about a specific girl. Yes, I talked about a specific girl.
Okay.
Who told me details about Liam Neeson that I did not necessarily want to hear.
They said he has a very special set of skills, from what I hear. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on from this.
I'm trying.
You're not. You're actually trying to mire us in this. Yes, the capitalist corner. Lore is deep. All right, look, Michael. Another thing you have up here on our headline is antitrust. It seems like a blow was stricken against antitrust. Gothic whores, yes. Liam Neeson balls. All of those are very interesting ideas for shirts potentially. I think some folks in the SPN fandom would certainly wear the Gothic whore shirt. But if you spelled balls BAWLS, so it's like Bobby's character, I think people might go for it.
Who's Bobby?
Bobby Singer is a character in Supernatural. He's a very, very beloved character in Supernatural, and he always says balls and idiot. He has these catchphrases that people.
Oh, that's the guy. What's his real name? Didn't I meet this guy?
Jim Beaver. Yeah, you've met
Jim Beaver. Yeah. I met him. Yeah.
Former Marine, good guy, super good guy, super talented.
Yeah, you and him had great chemistry.
I love
on the stage. I said when you guys did your question and answer thing.
Yeah, he's a great look. You're getting nailed. They're like, dude, who's Bobby? Everybody knows who Bobby is except for my partner in crime here, Michael Leibowitz. But we'll forgive him for that. Sort of. Look, the Federal Trade Commission won't give up its crusade against Meta. We've got judges saying Meta does not meet the standard of a monopoly, yet the Federal Trade Commission is still going after them and spending billions of taxpayer dollars trying to break up what they say is a monopoly, even though they have a 30% share of the market, which, according to the court, does not constitute a monopoly. But, Michael, I question their whole arbitrary concept of monopoly.
Yes.
I mean, they have these arbitrary ideas, not even 68%, not even 52. They kept throwing out these arbitrary.
If you hit 69%,
then maybe you can be considered a monopoly.
Yeah. It's so, I don't know what the standard is. It's so stupid. It's so arbitrary. It's idiotic. This just comes from people who think that government is the answer to everything in life. Government is not the answer to everything in life. They are they are the problem. I didn't swear, Persephone. Don't give me that dirty look.
It was close.
No, it was close. Someone told me to tell you to watch your language.
Oh, and who was that?
I'm not going to put them out there, but it was on Facebook. I shared a reel. I didn't know that you used the C word in the reel. And the guy came on and said, "Please watch your language, sir." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "Listen till the end." So I did. And then I said, "Oh my Lord."
But I think I made a big deal out of it. Anyway, what's cringe, Christopher? Tell me what's cringe. Well, Rand.
What do you mean? He did tell you.
What? I didn't see.
Antitrust laws make me cringe.
Okay. You put that in one sentence, not like two separate thoughts. That's what I'm saying. Put it in.
Yell at Christopher. Yeah, Christopher. Put it all in one freaking thought. We don't need two lines.
Antitrust laws make anybody with a brain cringe, but particularly objectivists. Rand talked about antitrust ages and ages and ages and ages ago as a capitalist.
What do you mean ages and ages and ages?
Back in my day when I was just barely when I was a little youngster. Right?
When you were 20. You were 20.
When I was 20. She talked about this stuff, rightfully so, and a capitalist administration would do away with the Sherman Antitrust Act as quickly as possible.
What about the Clayton Antitrust Act?
We'll deal with all antitrust. Clayton Antitrust Act. All antitrust, folks, goes out the window.
Alan Greenspan's essay on antitrust is a must read. It's In Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal. It's great. Actually, he gave it to his wife when he first met her, Andrea Mitchell. Very romantic, I guess. Here, check out my antitrust laws, whatever, my antitrust writings. But no, it's a great essay. And he talks about how it's completely arbitrary, how it leaves businessmen not knowing what to do, and how they end up, initiating force against peaceful people. It's just stupid, and get rid of them. There's so much stuff that I want to get rid of.
There's so much stuff that needs to be getting rid of, Michael. The question is there the political will, not only on the political class, but on the part of the people to get rid of this stuff? Because anytime somebody comes into office with the even the hint that they may start adjusting Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. They may increase the retirement age, all the stuff that they probably have to do to keep these programs solvent, as ridiculous as they are. They get massive pushback from the public. And if 51% of the people of the United States of America are in some way dependent on the federal government for either a check or a subsidy of some kind, where is the political will to get this stuff taken care of and take it off the table, which is what capitalists would have to do.
Wayward Sister 92 says, loved the frosted hair look. Lucy bringing it back. So basically what you're telling us is that I could come on looking my level best. Mark comes on looking like a hobo, and you're still going to congratulate Mark on how attractive he
Hobo.
is. You look like a hobo.
I prefer. I look like a hobo?
Yeah, dude. You're all bushed out. The hair's a mess. The bushed out face.
Jesus. But first of all, I want to explain this isn't frosted. These are my roots growing in from the show I'm working on. I've been on hiatus for like a month, but I'm going back on Saturday, which means they are going to overprocess the fuck out of my hair to get it white again, because I'm supposed to be an old dude. I'm going to have to shave this beard and have my prolific mustache all by itself on my upper lip, which is also going to be dyed white. So soon enough, I'll be looking like an old proctologist again.
What?
Never mind.
Anyway, I told the guy in prison one time, I said,
thank you very much for that, Persephone. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. I thought she loved me, and here it is. I can't wait for Mark to go bald.
Yeah, she's from South Africa. They all over there, they wish us they're very envious of Americans. But anyways, as is she. I mean, we know that from our conversations when we go off the air, how envious she is of us, our language and everything else. She talks in that weird stuff. But either way, I told the guy in prison once, he came out of the cell looking real shabby. And I said, hey, dude, you look like a hobo. And the guy says to me, hey, yo, I don't play that.
yo, I don't play that.
Hey, I said it, hobo. You just got it?
I did. Yes, I'm late on the uptake with you. Not just with you, with Persephone too. I think with everybody. I'm sort of late on the uptake, but yes, that's very funny. It's even funnier now that you said it.
Now that you understand the joke?
Yes, now that I understand the joke, it's funny. Kathy says, boys, you're both pretty. Well, thank you very much for that. Oh my God, I'm just getting my balls busted left and right here on the chat. Thank you for that.
No, you're not. They're all telling you how sexy you are. What do you mean?
Bald is beautiful. That's questionable. I also found out from Danny that you guys were actually in people's backyards and could see into their houses.
They share backyards.
We're not entirely honest about this.
No, I was. They share backyards. It's an open public space, like the kid going down the hill.
Right, but
he's going into everybody else's backyard.
To know that you were in people's backyards looking into their windows.
He was looking in their windows. I wasn't. He's the creep. He's 6 feet tall. I'm short. I can't see.
Okay, but if you were 6 feet tall, you'd be looking into their windows. Hey, Newsweek is reporting something that sounds super creepy, and they have video support of it as well, so it's not like they're making it up. So anybody out there in the MAGAverse who says, oh, you're just making this shit up, it's true. Donald Trump says sometimes you need a dictator. He actually said it at the Davos CEO reception meeting. Now, he said it in a weird, you know how he goes on and on and on. He was talking about how well his speech was received. It was a great speech. Everybody loved it. For perfect speech. Everybody calls me a dictator. Sometimes you need a dictator. It came out as if it was like stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, it slipped out like a Freudian slip out there into the universe. But it's not the first time he said it. It's not the first time.
Boom. That's the point. Because had it been the first time, I'd say, this is just I don't know what he's talking about. It does, but he's praising dictators all the time. Now, let me not say all the time. He's repeatedly praised dictators. He loves executive authority. So, that seems to be his thing. So I think you kind of have to take it seriously. I also heard that, I don't know if this is true, so I'm not going to say it. Let me look it up. I'm going to look this up. You tell one of your stories.
God, every time you do that, you put me on the spot. I wanted to read something from Gary here. Mark, how can you say the Clintons were never in the private sector? Hillary made $100,000 in a weekend in the stock market. That's true. Didn't she short cattle futures or something like that? Yeah, she's just a super good investor, man. Come on. That's cynical of you, Gary. That's very cynical of you. Ray says monopoly is just code for too successful for our egos to handle. That's true, but one of the things that I loved about Rand is her distinction between market monopolies and coercive monopolies. Well, there's such a thing as a company getting market share, meaning an overwhelming percentage of people just actually like that product, and so they purchase it. That never lasts. It's never lasted in the history of quote unquote market monopolies. And then there's coercive monopolies who get market share by the fact that the government tilts the laws in their favor or makes regulations in such a way as to knock out the competition. That's a coercive monopoly. The school system, the post office are perfect examples of coercive monopolies, but there are others out there now. What were you going to say now?
I'm glad I didn't say it because I fact checked it and it wasn't true.
So, but listen to this.
I'm listening.
Remember early on, this might have been during the campaign, somebody asked Trump, if you were dictator for a day, what would you do? And he took it seriously. Well, if I were dictator for a day, I would, and he started going on, yada, yada. Milton Friedman was asked the exact same question about
the real Uncle Milty.
The real Uncle Milty was asked, if you were dictator, he said, I wouldn't be. That was the very first thing out of his mouth. I wouldn't be. Now that is somebody who you want as a candidate for the president, not somebody who entertains what they would do if they had unlimited power. It's the guy who says, I wouldn't be dictator. It's the guy like George Washington who gives up power. And King George III says, if he does in fact do this when they're offering him the kingdom of America, he is the greatest man in history. And that is true. That is what a capitalist representative republic looks like, folks. People who are in positions of political power don't want to wield it. They don't want it, but they do it because they understand that we need a system like this in order to thrive as human beings. We need a system that respects freedom and protects property in order to thrive. But look, Hillary Clinton said the same thing during one of her interviews in 2016. I just want to be president of the United States, she said. I was like, anybody who hears that should disqualify her immediately. It should disqualify her immediately. Anybody who wants the office, you should be out. Out. What are you doing?
What do you mean? Persephone called me a dick yesterday.
It was earned.
How do you know? You don't even know what it was about.
I don't have to.
So you just willy-nilly side with anyone that calls me a dick?
No, not anyone, but Persephone, yes.
But we already know about her history with this stuff.
What?
With just with the whole South Africa thing.
Okay, well, listen, she says we've technically reached the 10 super chats today, even though they're not all over $10. Okay.
I don't think you're supposed to be reading that out loud.
No, okay. Maybe it's my inside.
I think that's
my
in the
inside
private.
voice always comes out.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's in the private chat for a reason.
I think we do want to still do our thing. Right. I think I would like to still have somebody on as a guest on Friday if they have.
All right. Look, there's two people that can qualify. Jenna and Ian Gilmore. If Jenna and Ian Gilmore would like to be on the show tomorrow, they are welcome.
Okay. So I'm assuming Jenna does not want to, but please visit the show anyway. We won't force you to come on. We don't believe in initiating force as capitalists, but Ian, certainly you would like to come on, I'm sure, and give us your robust perspective on the news items of the day. What?
I just can't believe Jenna is washing her hair, so she doesn't want to come on. Danny says I am a dick. See, this is how rumors get started. But you need to learn that when Persephone sends you a private message in the chat, that it's a private message in the chat.
Oftentimes the private messages are just super chats or some other question that somebody has that's relevant.
She puts somebody else's stuff in there.
So I started reading it, not even thinking about the fact that it may be just a message.
I know, that's the problem.
Okay. You're right. That is a problem. Michael, let's talk about some more lawlessness, shall we? Can we talk about more lawlessness on the part of this administration?
Huh?
Do you
Yeah,
mind,
go ahead. Yeah, we got 5 minutes. Come on, lay it
mind
on
talking
me.
about more lawlessness? So Trump.
I'm not going to be here Tuesday, by the way. Tuesday, no show.
Good to know. I'm traveling anyway Tuesday, so that'll be a thing. A Trump-appointed federal judge orders Lindsay Halligan to stop masquerading as a U.S. attorney. Now, you know what's crazy? One of the crazy things about this, the fact that she's even there
Is insane.
is insane. But that she's not going to really have any repercussions from it because the judge sort of concluded that, you know, you have no prosecutorial experience. Actually, one of the main qualifiers for being
Yeah. Basically, he told her, "You're so stupid that we're not going to punish you for pretending to be a prosecutor."
Boy, did she luck out, because her career could have been over right then and there.
Yeah,
But
I loved the analogy. I love the analogy that the author gave, that even after they told her she couldn't be a prosecutor anymore because she wasn't supposed to be appointed to begin with, she kept going, and they brought up Seinfeld, and they said that it's like George Costanza showing up to work after he quit, like pretending nothing happened, and that's basically what she did.
Yeah, I love that. This is primacy of consciousness all the way down the line, Michael. It's like Trump wants us to believe what he believes reality is, and when he wants a prosecutor in place so that he can carry out his retribution against these political enemies.
Yes.
Rules be damned, law be damned, a constitution be damned. The way these appointments are actually supposed to be handled be damned. He's going to place somebody in there who's a crony of his, and he's going to get it done irrespective of what people think. And this went on and on and on and on. I mean, I remember this controversy like ages ago, and thank God it's finally been resolved. But the cashews on this administration to place people in power and to try to persecute their political enemies, I mean, in this manner, I mean, I don't think Buster Keaton or Charlie Chaplin could come up with a funnier, more ridiculous, buffoonish.
Why do I know that name? Who's Buster Keaton?
He was a comedic actor, a physical comedian, a great physical comedian in the silent era.
You think you could have been in that era?
I was alive back in that time, but I was
no. But I mean, do you think you could have acted in that way? I saw this movie once called The Artist.
Yes, great movie. No,
it was very good, and it was about the silent era. But I just that I think that's pretty difficult.
Well, that kind of physical comedy, Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin, and especially Buster Keaton, you see that. Well, just watch a couple of his movies. The stuff he did was utterly incredible. But he started this kind of physical comedy from the time he was 5 years old, Michael. So it's like he was on a vaudeville stage with his parents, basically, and he was the pratfaller. And they would toss him around stage, and people thought it was hilarious. And that's how he learned how to do the stuff that he did. And if you see it,
so he was abused?
Well, we would consider it today a form of abuse, yes. But
I'd say it's so, throwing a kid around.
Yeah, on stage for laughs, yeah. But he became so good at that stuff. If you watch his stuff today, you could compare it to Jackie Chan stuff in the 90s. That's how fantastic it was and how interesting and original some of his stuff was. We're talking... I'll think of a couple of movies after this to tell you to watch, and I guarantee you will love them, and you'll be amazed at what this guy's physical capabilities were.
Okay. In the meantime, give the capitalist thought of the day.
Look, folks, one of the most important things in a capitalist society is rule of law, not of men. And what we are seeing today is the rule of one man, one man's whim, and one man's caprice over the Constitution, over the various branches of government that are meant to balance the executive power. A capitalist society is one that respects the law. It also respects the separation of powers, because it understands that no particular branch of power should have power over the other. They check and balance each other's power, because in that checks and balances, your freedoms remain intact. And that is the government we want, folks, a government of laws, not of men. What's your question for the day, Michael?
My question is, what? I'm stuttering. Okay, I'm going to ask you a movie question. Yeah, I'm going to ask a movie question, and I hope you've all seen these movies. What was a better movie, Goodfellas or Donnie Brasco? Goodfellas or Donnie Brasco? If you have not seen either, or if you've only seen one, just tell me your favorite mob movie. Is that fair, Mark?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, there you go, folks. So we'll be back here. We will be back here tomorrow, same bat time, same
with
bat.
Ian Gilmore,
9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, with Ian in tow. We'll answer questions. We'll talk about the news of the day, and we'll have fun together. That's what we like to do. So, folks, until tomorrow, peace.
We got to tell them to check their premises, Mark.
Yeah, do check your premises.